All right, today's gonna be a light day of forearms and maybe a little of, abs, calves, little things here and there. I worked calves yesterday, but, just the small muscles where I really wanna just give it a little extra work. And maybe I'll do a little recovery stuff, that's important too. I think something we forget a lot is, we go and work out, we go and recover, you eat, you drink your water, get good sleep, but sometimes, not only do you need a rest day or a day where you're just working stuff, that's not too heavy, but you also need to maybe train it more in a different way, you know what I mean? Not saying that it's going to build more muscle for you, but, it might help strengthen your joints or the connective tissue around it. You don't want shoulder problems, you don't want elbow problems, you don't want knee problems. So doing stuff like that, not only will it, probably keep you healthier for longer and allow you to do whatever you're doing a little bit longer, but it'll also allow you to sort of, strengthen your joints, which is something that's kind of overlooked. And it could also, if you think about it, you got stronger joints, you might be able to actually get stronger lifts, But even if that's not the case, if you injure something, you can't lift at all. So I think recovery and training around recovery is just as, if not more important than the actual weightlifting itself. But yeah, this is gonna be an easy day. Gonna do some forearms, probably a little bit of abs, and I will see you after I finish. Well, that was a really good workout. There's no denying that I'm feeling, a lot more energized, especially because I'm seeing just a little bit more progress every single day and I'm feeling a little better. But there's going to be good days, there's going to be bad days, and I know that. And it's important to remember to try and just stay as consistent as you can, no matter what you're going through during that day. You're going to have days where you don't want to train at all. You're going to have days where you don't want to go and do your cardio on the treadmill or get your steps in, and that's going to suck. You might see it's raining outside and think, well, maybe I should stay in. You just can't do that. You can't have that mentality. If it's raining outside, then walk inside. If it's really hot, then go inside again. Or, put on some sunscreen, put on a hat and go. It's the way to get better at something is to just keep doing it over and over and over again. There are a few very special people that can go out, and without really much training, they just have that natural talent, and more so just kind of like a disposition towards it. It's like a guy who the first time he touches a basketball, he just kind of has a sixth sense for it, right? Or somebody who's playing baseball and can just rattle off 80 miles an hour pitches at 12. You think about it like that, it's a little sad to think that you might not be the most talented, but if you can be the most dedicated, if you can go in and night out, that doesn't guarantee you're going to win. That doesn't guarantee you're going to win at anything, but that does dramatically increase your chance of getting better. That's what you should be shooting for. It shouldn't be always about winning. You should want to win. I want to win. I have that competitive drive. I want to beat everybody, but you can't think of it that way. You can't tie your success always to I need to win, because that's when you're going to have, your worst moments. Because if you don't win going in and expecting to, that's probably the worst thing that can happen to you. You lose all motivation and you get depressed and you think you're not good enough, Go in there and try to be better. Yes, you want to win. Yes, you should have that drive to say, you know what, I am number one. I'm going to outwork everybody and I'm going to get there. But you have to just go in not expecting to win. You have to go in every single day expecting to get just a little bit better. Just a little bit. That's what makes the difference. Some days I do want to take off, do one thing or another, but I know that's not how a winner's built. Some days you can rest, some days you need it, rest day, but you still got things to do. You still got to stick to your diet. You still got to go and get your cardio in. You still got to do, and this isn't anything, it doesn't have to be sports related. It could be, degree related. If you're a computer science major, working on your coding, or if you're a teacher, you want to be a better teacher, or if, any number of things. To get better, you have to keep doing it. You can be naturally gifted, but that's only going to take you so far. It's not just the predisposition towards something, it's the determination to just keep going, the iron will to just say, I'm going to go out and I'm going to get better. I'm going to go out and I'm going to win. I want to be the best that I can be, and it borders on insanity. It does. I think to be truly great at something, you have to be a little nuts, because you have to just be willing to consume so much information, to work countless hours towards your craft. Most likely outside of, for me, outside of a 9-to-5, outside of school, outside of, personal commitments, family. You have to sacrifice all your free time and maybe some things that you want to do that's not just outside of free time, but things that you might want to go out. You might want to go out to the bar for a drink with your buddies, and you can't do that. It's not going to help you get towards your goal. It's going to hurt you, but you got to sacrifice it. Maybe you go out with your buddies and get a water. You look like a lame-o, but who cares? You're working towards it. You got to make sacrifices, and that is the thing that I think separates the good from the great. The sheer insanity it takes to go in and day out, to sacrifice things, to work on top of every other commitment you've got. That is what makes a champion. And does it necessarily guarantee you'll be a champion? No. But I think personally, that's the only way to live. The only way to live is to give whatever you're doing 100% and to be the best you can be. So that's it for today. I will see you guys tomorrow for some biceps and triceps. And in the meantime, I'm going to do your cardio. And remember, it just takes the effort to want to win and to go in and put in the work so you can win.